It's another day, the sun is shining. Got to know what's going on around you. Wake up, it's the time to motivate your mind. Come with me, let's make this moment brighter. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Come on and wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Hey.
Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise. I'm Anastasia Palacios.
Good morning. Happy Monday to you. I'm Philip Simon.
And of course, it's our pleasure to be back in your company after another lockdown weekend here in the capital. And of course, a weekend of freedom for those of you not living in New Providence and Abaco. Phil, how did you enjoy the quiet time?
The quiet time was actually great. I mean, I love the weather. I really like the rain. It's great for the environment. It's good for the outdoors. Again, another one of those weekends where you spend it in front of the TV, watching sports, Netflix, etc.
Yeah, it was a big sports weekend. Kind of falling asleep this morning because it was such a big sports night last night. Of course, the World Series going on, Dodgers playing, and then you had two really good football games happening at the same time. And so, yeah, very big sports weekend. I'm sure all the men were quite happy for those that didn't have people bothering them or asking them to change the channel.
No doubt about that. In fact, there was also an incredible mixed martial arts contest over the weekend. This guy by the name of Khabib, he ended his career 29-0, probably one of the best or the greatest pound for pound, mixed martial artists of all time. He just abruptly retired after he won the match. So it's a great weekend, good weekend.
That's awesome. I had actually gotten a bit into kickboxing and some forms of jiu-jitsu, doing a women's self-defense group out in the area near where I live. But, COVID has really just changed that whole environment. The ability to kind of get very close to a person one-on-one and be that physical is just not safe at this time. We've certainly seen those numbers rising in the U.S. They're continuing to report the highest numbers of cases there as they kind of move into their second surge. Of course, similar things happening around Europe, and then here in the Bahamas, we always have a dip on the weekend, and then we kind of see those numbers rise again on the Monday. And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens next week as we're supposed to open on November 1st.
Yeah, we were talking about it before the show. I mean, and of course, the Ministry of Tourism sent out a press release yesterday about, testing, et cetera. I'm concerned. I'm concerned, but I also, I'm living with the reality that we all have to make these adjustments to COVID. Economically, we just have to. It's a matter of survival. And so the bottom line is, as it has always been from the very beginning, we have to do this together, right? We have to figure out how to do this together. We got to live with COVID. We got to social distance. We got to, adhere to the protocols and then enforce the protocols, right?
Yeah, enforce the protocols. And then I think for me, it's still, how do we make testing more available more widely so that people know that they are sick, even if they don't feel sick? And that way we can kind of limit the spread. We lost a great man this weekend. And so at this time, I just want to pause and say my condolences to the family of Courtney Strawn. If any of you are familiar with, St. Agnes, Omega Psi Phi fraternity, or even just the old Chippenham crew, you know how important Courtney Strawn has been to that community and just to the development of our country, to young people, and just the effort he would put in as an individual. Of course, also to those persons working at monuments and antiquities where he spent significant time. But I think about losing giants of the community like that to this disease, and I recognize for me that we can't just go about it with business as usual. We have to make sure that we have the best options available for the people that will need it. And we will lose some people along the way, but do we have the capacity? Are the hospitals in the right space? And I just don't know whether or not we feel as a nation that has happened yet. And maybe it will happen over this next week. I'm prayerful that it will. But I think that while we do want the economics of this thing to move along, we also really have to look at the most vulnerable in our community and make sure that they are protected as well.
Yeah. My condolences as well. I did not know that. So my condolences to the family of Courtney, who I knew as well. I knew he was ill. I knew he was fighting it. But my condolences as well, not just to him, but to anybody who would have lost anybody related to COVID or any other disease or death. And so, wow, I tell you, the balance and I don't know. It's rough. It's rough.
But of course, we're doing the best we can here. And certainly here, we want to give you a little bit of inspiration and hope. We try to bring you the best information that we can about things, not just sharing our opinions as we tend to do, but really wanting to give you some solid information. So we've got a great show lined up for you today.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The Bahamas Ministry of Tourism is here to talk about their Bahama Host program going digital. That's interesting. I did Bahama Host back in the 1980s, let's just say that. Dr. Pinto is also back for another urology care segment, and we'll conclude our Surviving COVID series. Doctors Hospital has just been great over the past several weeks with us.
Yeah, Doctors Hospital has really been doing their thing, bringing a lot of information here to Bahamas at Sunrise. So, of course, stay tuned for that. I'm also excited because we'll be talking with two speakers from the upcoming Exuma Business Outlook. Kimwood Mott from Central Bank and Shamir Sattler, who's the founder and CEO of something called Smart Term Limited. So they'll both be here. And just a reminder to you that you can register for the Exuma Business Outlook, which happens this Thursday, October 29th. And the conference is online this year, and it's absolutely free to you, absolutely free. So much information. So if you are passionate about Exuma, the development of Exuma, just wanting to learn more about what's happening in the country, please get registered at tclevents.com, or you can call us at 322-1000. And that, of course, is to register for the Exuma Business Outlook. Well, we've got all of that ahead for you and so much more. But before we get to it, let's take a first look at weather with Godfrey Burnside.
Weather at Sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First. First in insurance, today, tomorrow.
Thank you, Star, and good morning, Bahamas. In your first look at weather sunrise, lingering troughing, along with tropical moisture, will continue to produce some showers and isolated thunderstorms across the central Bahamas as a mid-level ridge builds across the island that will promote some stable conditions throughout the remainder of the week. Today, a mix of sun and clouds with a few showers, isolated thunderstorms, mainly in the central Bahamas, your high temperature reaching 88 degrees Fahrenheit tonight. Partly cloudy with a few showers or possible thunderstorms again in the central Bahamas, below going down to 77 degrees Fahrenheit. And some regional highs and lows across the Caribbean, Barbados 83 and 79. In Jamaica, 84 and 73. In Trinidad, 84 and 76. And the Turks and Caicos Islands, 88 and 77. Across North America, Atlanta, 79 and 63. In Raleigh, 78 and 59. In Miami, 87 and 78. Dallas, Texas, 66 and 42. And Toronto, Canada, 58 and 47. As we go through the week, more stable conditions. Looking at a mix of sun and clouds, with this chance of a couple of showers or thunderstorms mainly during the afternoon hours. The temperature daytime will be in the upper 80s, at nighttime in the upper 70s. That puts you up in your first look at weather sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Star.
Thank you so much, Godfrey. Well, in the wake of COVID-19, the Bahamas Ministry of Tourism remains committed to ensuring that we as Bahamians are still able to give the very best in service to our visitors. That, of course, means the Bahama Host program is still going on, and it's now been moved to a digital platform. This morning, I'm very happy to welcome three outstanding ambassadors from our tourism sector who are here to share more with us. Happy to have Samantha Cartwright. She's the Assistant Manager of the Tourism Cadet Schools Unit, responsible for industry training in New Providence. We've got Kirkland Pratt. He's Director of Industry and Training in New Providence. And they're joined by Corinda Swain. She's the Manager of Training and Education and Quality Assurance from my beautiful island, Grand Bahama. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning, Anastasia. Good early morning to you.
Good morning, everyone.
See why these are the faces of tourism, right? Just looking this beautiful, this bright and early in the morning. You guys are actually doing that and making that look very good. So thanks so much for joining us. I just want to start off by kind of finding out what kinds of skills and customer relations training does Bahama Host cover?
Okay, Anastasia, I'll take a stab at that. I'm sure Samantha and Corinda will echo and support me in that regard. Bahama Host Proper is a certification program that is facilitated through workshops. And these workshops occur between 5 modules. Give you some insight into what those modules look and sound like. Proud to be Bahamian would be module 1. Tourism today would be module 2. And the Bahamas Service Experience 3. Module 4 focuses on the worldview as it relates to our guest. And module 5 is focused on, it's a holistic model for the most part. And it focuses on defining personal brand and exploring career opportunities and literally building your professional brand through SMART goals and other vices as well. And so across that's our main program, as it were. We have elective programs, but the main Bahamas program that you hear of often since 1978 would be the one that incorporates the 5 modules that I would have just spoken to.
Okay, so 5 modules. Traditionally, how long would this program be if you were doing it in person, Samantha?
Well, it depends. We have various modes of delivery, of course. We cater to persons who would be available in the daytime. And so we have day and evening sessions. We would have sessions now that range from 9 in the morning to 12:30 in the afternoon, due to the fact that we do this daily for 2.5 weeks. We have since our launching of the virtual program, we have included even evening sessions for those persons who are engaged in the day with their regular employment activities. And so we have evening sessions that would allow persons to still participate and do their daily activities that range for 3.5 hours. It would be daily now that we are in the virtual program for 2.5 weeks as well. But you will also note that we deliver programs to students. And so we would engage students, and that's primarily what I do on a day-to-day basis. And so we would have our students engaged during the school week for various hours, 45 minutes to an hour and a half at a time, being certain that they're still engaged in their daily activities and their daily subjects, but of course, including Bahama Host as instruction for them as well.
And so, Samantha, is the school program something that students would sign up for themselves, or it happens with the school contacting the Ministry of Tourism?
Well, we have partnerships that are ongoing with the school administrators and definitely the hospitality and the family and consumer science instructors. We have also associate trainers who work with us within the program. We would find that there are varied methods or measures of delivery with some members of the school's unit team, whether in the Family Islands, inclusive of Grand Bahama, or in Nassau, who would deliver to students based on their registration or their involvement in specific coursework related activities. And so we'd find that we would cater more to tourism students, but the schools have been allowing students to register based on their interest. So we have students across the islands of the Bahamas who are interested in tourism, who are working within their courseworks in tourism, and we get to deliver Bahama Host instructions while they're in school to them.
Excellent, excellent. Ms. Swain, for Grand Bahama, is this program being delivered as well? We, for example, in the education sector, students are able to go to school in Grand Bahama, whereas they have to do things virtually here in New Providence. So is it working for Grand Bahama in a virtual space as well?
Yes, it is working for Grand Bahama as well. Normally what we do the beginning of the school year or just before it started, we communicate with all schools, allowing them the opportunity to utilize our services, which is free to all students. And it doesn't only cater to the hospitality or the high school student. We make ourselves available to the primary school, the preschool, because we like to also share information regarding tourism. So that falls under like tourism awareness, the tourism awareness program. So it is available. Unfortunately, due to Hurricane Dorian and COVID, it isn't as in demand as I would think it should be, but we're getting there. But we've been in various schools throughout the island.
Excellent, excellent. Now, Mr. Pratt, for example, if somebody in Grand Bahama or somebody in Abaco wanted to take the Bahama Host program, are they able to do that virtually? So, for example, is because it's now virtual, is enrollment open across the nation for the virtual program?
Definitely. We have an amazing platform. Zoom has become our first cousin, and we we have integrated our platform onto Zoom. And again, as you can imagine, COVID just really changed our reality in a big way. We had already initiated efforts towards a virtual platform to house the Bahama Host program, and COVID accelerated that. I'm, it sounds cliche, but I'm amazed at how quickly and how efficiently we were able to integrate the program itself into the Zoom platform. And when I pass the trainers, or when I'm in the same environment as they are presenting, it would appear that this was something that was happening for quite a while. So it's seamless across the islands, it's seamless across all platforms. We would have integrated trainings. It's very easy to be immersed in that environment and really not even know that we're literally speaking to someone in Exuma or someone in Grand Bahama. It's just because of the seamlessness of the program. So I couldn't be more pleased with this.
Excellent, excellent. All right, Ms. Swain, if we wanted to get in contact with you from a Grand Bahama perspective, how would we do that?
Okay, we have a special email that we have set up for those who are inquiring about training, gbtraining@bahamas.com, gbtraining@bahamas.com, or they can send an email to kswain@bahamas.com, or call us 350-8600, 350-8600.
Thank you so much. And Ms. Cartwright, if you can for us, just let us know, how we can get kind of signed up for it. Obviously, Bahama Host comes with a certification. And so I know a lot of people are looking to certify themselves during some of this downtime that we're having. So how can people reach you overall, or reach the overall Bahamas program to get registered?
Well, definitely. We look forward to involving all persons who are interested in partnering with us and getting certification. They can reach out to us via our telephone lines, 302-2000, or they can kindly send an email to us. They can reach out to myself, scartwright@bahamas.com, or they can reach out to Mr. Pratt. He's here, as well as the director of training, kpratt@bahamas.com. But definitely for those in the Bahamas, we know that we're a telephone nation, so they can call our Ministry of Tourism line here, 302-2000, and we will be certain to respond, likewise encouraging them to do what they need to do to get Bahama Host certified and join the team of certified professionals.
Excellent. Well, we want to thank you three for joining us this morning on Bahamas at Sunrise. Always a beautiful day to talk about tourism, especially with you good people. And we wish you all the best as you continue to elevate your program training as a result of COVID, and just really push it to the next level to make sure that we're ready to tackle these tourists as they come back to our shores. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much,
Thank you for having
Anastasia.
us.
Thank you, Simon. Good to be with you.
Yes, I'm glad to have you all with us. We'll be back with more Bahamas at Sunrise right after this commercial break.
Thank you.
Do you want to know more about the scriptures, the early Christian church, its teachings, suffering, other religions, the authenticity of the Bible? The Anglican Theological Institute is for you. Enroll in a 3-year certificate program. Classes are conducted from NASA and Freeport on Saturday mornings. Don't miss a class. Stay connected anytime, anywhere, with high-speed internet. Contact us at 603-2481. Visit our Facebook page. Pick up an application form at any Anglican church or at Addington House on Sands Road. The Anglican Theological Institute is for you.
Good afternoon. First response. How can I help you?
I've been in an accident on West Bay Street. Can you send someone to help?
Yes, ma'am. A first response team will be there in 15 minutes. Are you hurt?
No, I'm fine, but a bit upset.
We're glad you're not hurt. Please, try to relax. Our team will take care of everything as soon as they arrive.
First Response provides immediate on-site service and support from the scene of an accident through the claims and repair process. And it's free to all Bahamas First Insured drivers in New Providence, every day for any type of accident. If you drive and want first response on your side, call 32-FIRST or visit bahamasfirst.com for the name of an authorized Bahamas First agent. First response can't prevent an accident from happening,
But it can certainly ease your mind when it happens.
Welcome back to the show. Today we are concluding, unfortunately, our series, Surviving COVID, Controlling Your Risk Factors with Doctors Hospital Health System. We've learned so much over the past several weeks. In this, our last session, we will be talking about the disease itself with Dr. Charlene Bonamy, internal medicine, infectious disease specialist at Doctors Hospital Healthcare System. And of course, the incomparable, she's been our MVP certainly over the last several weeks, Dr. Sheena Antonio Colley, the Chief Medical Officer at Doctors Hospital Health System and the Medical Director of Doctors Hospital Health System. Good morning, doctors, and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Antonio Colley. I can't believe this is the last one in this series. It's certainly been so enlightening over these last several weeks. I want to thank you, of course, on behalf of all of our viewers for coordinating such informative sessions. Just explain to us once again, I mean, what has been the purpose of all of this? And then, of course, you've got another star here with us today in Dr. Bonamy, and just explain why he's been such an asset to this team.
Well, this has been an awesome experience for us at Doctors Hospital Health System, and I want to thank all of you at Bahamas at Sunrise, as well as your viewers, for giving us the opportunity to come and bring to you information that we think is pertinent for educating the public, reaching out to the public, as well as to show you exactly what it is that we are interested in and committed to doing in Doctors Hospital Health System. So this has been an awesome experience. It's been great to get to know all of you. And once again, working with you during this time, because we're all in this fight together, like I continue to say. Today, our anchor guest physician is Dr. Charlene Bonamy, who has been the doctor behind it all at Doctors Hospital Health System in the fight against COVID. He has been the one that has been moving the machinery, creating the policies, seeing the patients. He's the epitome of the frontline worker. So he has been tremendous since day one, since the first patient walked into Doctors Hospital, in terms of all of our strategies, in terms of all of our clinical pathways. So it's been tremendous working with Dr. Bonamy. Dr. Bonamy is an internal medicine as well as infectious disease specialist, having done his training at University of the West Indies, as well as centers in South Carolina and Canada for his infectious disease training. He is our clinical director for infection control at Doctors Hospital. He's the director for infectious diseases at the Princess Margaret Hospital. And he is, of course, our COVID director for all medical care of patients, especially at Doctors Hospital West, but in our entire health system as well, too. So as you can see, Dr. Bonamy, like I said, has been our champion in terms of COVID care at Doctors Hospital.
Well, I tell you what, not just your champion, but our champion also. I want to say thank you, Dr. Bonamy. I can't imagine what that experience has been like on the front line. This has been a year like no other. Just speak a little bit about what has been the experience thus far from the very first patient that came in. I imagine it's just been incredible to see the evolution of COVID over the last several months. And also too, I mean, the numbers continue to grow. I mean, you've gone from 1 to several thousand here in the Bahamas, and of course, millions around the world. Speak to us a little bit about what has been that experience.
Yeah, so thank you guys for having me. Um, Firstly, let me just say that I've been extremely grateful to have had the opportunity to serve as, one of the many frontline physicians in this COVID-19 battle, having been given the privilege to head the Doctors Hospital facility has been quite meaningful to me. With Doctors Hospital West, for example, we've been charged with managing severe COVID cases, and I'm extremely proud of the team that's been there and the work we've done so far. During the first wave, we were able to manage 1/3 of all confirmed COVID cases at that institution. Being able to manage and accept patients from the public and private institutions, I've had the opportunity to be directly involved in the care of hundreds of patients, some of whom were colleagues, friends, and family, right? Many of whom have left good and lasting impressions and memories that I will forever hold near and dear to me. And, I'm hopeful that, in my role that I've been able to reciprocate that sentiment for what it's worth, no matter what the outcome, has turned out to be. There have been so many lessons learned since we started this pandemic. It already feels as though we've been dealing with this disease for such a long period of time, when in fact it's only really and truly been about 9 to 10 months. And as a scientific and healthcare community, we've made some tremendous strides, I would say, with regards to the disease's natural history. And we continue to learn, and as we treat our patients and we continue to follow them up in the outpatient setting. As an infectious diseases physician, I've always appreciated this link between what we like to call communicable and non-communicable diseases. And what we see many times in COVID is that there's an unmasking of some of these chronic medical illnesses in many patients, so that didn't know that they had them. So, for example, the presumably healthy middle-aged person presenting with diabetic and hypertensive emergencies on the background of their COVID is occurring. And on the other end, the obese, diabetic, hypertensive patient who gets COVID tend not to do so well. And, so this relationship between communicable and chronic diseases is on full display in this disease.
So I imagine, obviously this is a war, and there have been many battles, as you said, over the last 9 to 10 months. Are we winning this fight? And have there been any new technologies or treatments that available that have proven to be helpful?
Are we winning? Well, we have no choice but to win. So yes, our cases continue to rise. Our hospitals are overwhelmed. Our frontline workers are exhausted. We've had casualties. Our death toll, continues to climb, and it seems like COVID, for the most part, is going to be here for a while. But we have so many champions, involved in this fight. From my colleagues on the front line who, despite an overburdened healthcare system, they get up, they wake up, they go to work every day, putting their lives at risk to save others. That type of will and drive you really and truly can't explain. And that's a winning mentality, certainly not a losing one, right? You have private institutions who have had the vision to recognize the importance of this fight at an early stage, and who've had the grit to gut a number of their services and heavily invest in this battle. And they'll probably never be recognized because of who they are, what they stand for. Nevertheless, they can continue to contribute significantly to this fight, and they too are champions and heroes. You guys have done an extremely good job with regards to the public health recommendations and messaging, since day one. As a society, I feel, we adapt. We, at the end of the day, have to. I'm still on Bahamas at sunrise, first thing in the morning, because the show has to go on. After this, I have virtual meeting with my son, virtual learning with my son, because education is important. And so COVID-19 has brought to light so many things. There's still a lot more we need to find out about the disease. And as the science get better, we do better. we certainly need to continue the efforts with regards to capacity and to treat acute patients and the development of, long-term care facilities for patients who require them. And we also, I think, we need to continually address and improve on the social determinants of health that COVID-19 has both directly and indirectly exploited, so that we can not only win this battle, but be prepared for any future ones.
We definitely, well, I tell you, you definitely saved one of the best for last, Dr. Antonio Colli. There's so much more that I want to ask Dr. Bonamy, but unfortunately, we're going to be running out of time. I want to just end with you, Dr. Antonio Colli, and just say, obviously, we have excellent doctors and personnel here in our country, and certainly in Doctors Hospital. What do you want people to know about the wide range of top-notch specialists and treatments that are available at Doctors Hospital? And of course, we give you the final word as this ends our series on controlling COVID, your risk factors with COVID.
Absolutely. Once again, Doctors Hospital is committed to the fight against COVID. We have put a tremendous amount of resources behind it. Like Dr. Bonamy said, we have done a lot in terms of infrastructure to accommodate COVID positive patients, such as negative pressure rooms. We've expanded and we continue to expand capacity. We are, as we speak, increasing our capacity at the West to another 10 beds to treat COVID positive patients in that facility. And, we have expertise in countries such as Dr. Bonamy, who are able to come alongside us to facilitate the care of these patients. Of course, Doctors Hospital continues to be a regional center for the care of patients from preventative care all the way to tertiary care. And we continue to expand our footprint throughout the community, throughout the country. We have been champions in the arena of testing, PCR testing. We are working with government on many projects in terms of testing for COVID-19 in order to facilitate reopening of the economy. So Doctors Hospital is trying to be as best as we can be, to be good corporate citizens, to definitely be community minded. And like we said, we are trusted best care now, and we want to continue to be that to the Bahamian public and to be able to provide that expertise in country that Bahamians expect and that they deserve. And like I continue to say, we are going to win this fight against COVID-19.
Absolutely. And like Dr. Bonamy says, we have no choice but to do so. Dr. Charlene Bonamy, internal medicine, infectious diseases specialist at Doctors Hospital Healthcare System. Dr. Antonio Colli, we're going to miss you. Chief Medical Officer at Doctors Hospital Healthcare System and Medical Director at Doctors Hospital West. You're watching. Thank you once again. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Say the name Exuma, and the world sees exquisite gems in the rich necklace of the Bahamas. Join us on Thursday, October 29th at 10 a.m. via Zoom for the 14th Annual Exuma Business Outlook Seminar. Get an exciting review of Exuma's bright gems of investment potential and progress. Under the theme A New Era, Resilience in the Face of Vulnerability, a very savvy group of panelists will talk about Exuma opportunities. You won't want to miss it.
Register today at tclevents.com.
One thing, two things, blue thing, all things, things that are small, things that are grand, things that fit just right into the palm of your hand. Fox Hill Nursery, a large selection of garden supplies. If you can see it in your mind, you can find it at Fox Hill Nursery.
The sports we play depend on the health we build. So let's stay healthy. Wear a mask and practice social distancing and hand washing to protect yourself and others. Remember, COVID-19 is not a game.
A public service message from the Bahamas Olympic Committee.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. Accelerating business recovery and maximizing opportunities is the exciting opening session of Exuma Business Outlook this Thursday at 10 a.m. Our next guest will be helping us understand the benefits of the sand dollar. Very happy to welcome this morning Mr. Kimwood Mott. He's the project manager for digital currency implementation at the Central Bank of the Bahamas. Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise, Mr. Mott.
Good morning and thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure to have you with us. We are so excited about what it is that you'll be sharing on Thursday. Initially Exuma was the pilot for this digital currency, the sand dollar. Why?
Well, we recognize that the Exumas sort of represents what the Bahamas is as a whole. We're an island nation. We have 700 islands and keys. But specifically when we look at Exuma, Exuma has, the greater Exuma and all of the keys surrounding it. So it sort of gave us a microcosm of how the Bahamas operates and looks today. So it was a perfect pilot for us to implement the sand dollar.
All right, interesting. And I've never thought of it from that perspective, but it makes so much sense, right? We are an island nation. Exuma as an island itself has multiple islands in its jurisdiction. And so you're right, that makes so much sense. How well did Exuma adapt to the sand dollar? And what are some of the benefits that the vendors that were engaged in this program would have experienced as a result of it?
Well, the initial feedback from the pilot was very positive. We do recognize that immediately after we started the pilot that we had the COVID-19 situation pop up. So it did not allow us to stay on the ground, including those developers from outside of the country. So once the borders had closed, it made it very difficult for us to continue the pilot itself and to take it beyond where it got to. But I think that had it not been for COVID, we would be a lot more further ahead in the Exumas itself, as we are now starting out here in New Providence and the other family islands.
Okay, and so are there vendors now, whether in Exuma or here or anywhere else in the Bahamas, that are currently using the sand dollar?
That is correct. We do have vendors in Exuma, we do have vendors in Abaco, and we do have vendors in Freeport that are currently using sand dollars. They have started during the pilot, and since the rollout itself, we have received feedback from some of our authorized financial institutions that they've been onboarding merchants. And we've had merchants reach out directly to Central Bank requesting to get sand dollar wallets. But understanding fully that the Central Bank of the Bahamas does not operate any sort of merchant services to that degree, we then do direct them to the appropriate AFIs.
Okay, and who are those AFIs? Well, I want to kind of back up right here for 1 second, Mr. Mott. I think sometimes what we do is we end up speaking in code or languages that not everyone can understand. And I do want it. I'm even going to take it back a little bit and just even get you to clarify for me what is this digital currency? Because we've kind of been having that conversation. And if you do not know what the sand dollar is and you weren't keeping up to date with what digital currency is, you might be a bit lost in this conversation. So the APIs, I think is what you said?
AFIs, the authorized financial institutions.
Okay, so AFI stands for Authorized Financial Institutions. And so that would be some sort of a finance institution.
Right, it'll be one of the money transfer businesses, or it'll be an actual payment service provider, or it can actually be a commercial bank. But well, let's bring it back like you said. Let's start with what is the actual sand dollar. So basically, the central bank has embarked on a payment system modernization initiative. And the sand dollar is one of several initiatives that they have been engaged in. And the sand dollar is basically a digital representation of the Bahamian dollar. It's not a cryptocurrency, it's a digital currency that is backed by the central bank. It is traded one-to-one. It's not traded on any sort of foreign exchange. It's not to be used for loans. It's not to be used as any sort of trading mechanism. It is actually to operate like the Bahamian dollar. It operates either on a special digital card that can be provided for those persons who are not as tech savvy, but it is basically a mobile phone-based technology. And there is little to no cost to transact in the Sand Dollar space. So me sending you funds from my wallet to your wallet is seamless, it's immediate, it's no cost at all to you or to me, the sender or the recipient.
Now, it's interesting. Obviously, you would have started in Exuma, COVID would have hit and kind of impacted that, but now you have it rolling out in the other islands, as we would have mentioned. How long, or what is the vision that you hope for in terms of making this a nationwide thing? How likely is it that I, at some point, will have a Sand Dollar wallet as well, and I will be conducting my transactions in that space based on the vision that the central bank has?
Well, we anticipate that the Bahamian public is going to adopt the Sand Dollar very rapidly. Because when we recognize right now, technology has allowed even this interview to take place because we've had to adjust. And we're recognizing that in a lot of cases, businesses are recognizing how they're being impacted by COVID and the regulations and rules that have been put in place for persons to be contactless. And in instances, that also includes transacting in physical cash. So with the innovations that the Sand Dollar has brought to light, we actually have, the possibility now to transact in a space that is completely digital, that allows you not to have physical cash. It allows you to operate even from distances. If I needed to send you funds right now through Sand Dollar, I can do that simply by texting you money. It's a term that we've coined, basically saying that I can go on my phone and say, I want to send star $50, send, and immediately on your phone, you get a ping that says you just received $50. It's that simple, it's that seamless. So I do see where the Bahamian public is going to adopt this trend of transacting as well as transferring funds in the very near future. We also will be partnering with the government of the Bahamas and other charities to show exactly how powerful this platform is and how beneficial it will be to all stakeholders.
All right. Well, listen, there are so much more questions that I have for you. So I have to be tuned in on Thursday when you come to present at the Bahamas Business Outlook, just so that we can learn more. And so, Mr. Mott, we want to thank you so much for joining us this morning. See you already dressed, dapper and sharp and ready for work. So we were grateful that you were able to fit us into your schedule. And we look forward to hearing from you on Thursday at the Exuma Business Outlook.
Thank you very much. Please tune in and you'll learn a lot about the Sand Dollar.
Excellent. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise, bringing you the latest information, including more about our new digital currency, the Sand Dollar. We're going to be back with more after this commercial break.
The Doctors Hospital. As the Bahamas reopens, we at Doctors Hospital have been hard at work preparing for the new normal. The health and safety of our patients, associates, and others entering the hospital space is ever paramount and shapes the experience as you enter our facilities. All persons entering the hospital will be COVID screened, which includes a temperature check and a few short questions. There's also mandatory hand and shoe washing stations upon entry. Masks are required and can be provided if necessary. To further limit contact, Doctors Hospital has launched a concierge service that allows for pre-registration, a hospital itinerary, in-car waiting, and a navigator to guide you through your visit. Our pharmacy is now offering curbside pickup and delivery services for prescriptions as well. Social distancing markers are placed around the facility, and scheduling for imaging, including CAT scans, mammograms, and 3T MRIs. Laboratory, including our new same-day COVID-19 PCR testing, rehabilitation, and other services, has also been adjusted. Doctors Hospital is here to serve you with the same quality and care that you've come to expect, even as we enter a new normal. Now, more than ever, Doctors Hospital continues to be trusted and best care now. Isn't your health worth it?
Our world has changed. Many businesses have been closed for months with little or no access to their customers until now. Rev Media can help you remain connected to your customers. Our trusted customized advertising packages and personalized consultants will provide your business with immeasurable support during this challenging time. Your customers are already watching. Rev Media can help you to remain connected. Call us today. Let us help you.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. We're at the halfway point on this marvelous Monday. I'm Anastasia Palacios.
That's right. Happy Monday to you. I'm Philip Simon.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We've had a very intense morning, lots of knowledge being shared, Phil. And of course, we still got more to come in the second half.
More to come in the second half. We've got an interview with Shamir Sadler, he'll also be speaking at the Exuma Business. Listen, a great lineup. Congratulations, counselors, man. These outlooks have been incredibly informative.
Incredibly informative, always. From when I started attending at first, I was just blown away by just the amount of information that one can get by going into these sessions. Now that it's virtual, it's even more exciting because you can just learn from the comfort of your couch. And so we really want to encourage people to get registered at tclevents.com. Go ahead to tclevents.com and get registered absolutely free to learn all of this information.
Yeah. Listen, I want to say congratulations to the Central Bank of the Bahamas. They are doing some incredible things. I mean, this sand dollar is transformative. Being able to do everything, literally everything from this phone is something that we've been pushing for a very long time, but it changes the world. I mean, it actually has the ability to just not only change the way that we do business, but, everything else.
Yeah. And especially as we talk about, infectious diseases and what can pass from money to hands, et cetera, it just makes it a lot safer for us to be conducting these transactions from this perspective. And certainly in about 20 years, people will look back at this interview and say, well, why wasn't that always the norm, right? Because that's what it will become over time. So congratulations to them. And remember that you can learn more at the Business Outlook this week. Still to come in the second half, we're also going to be talking with Dr. Pinto. Great conversation about vasectomies. So ladies, men, now is the time up in front of that TV. If you've not been paying attention, stop all that work, turn up the volume. Let's have this conversation with Dr. Pinto.
No doubt about that. But before we do anything else, we're going to take a second look at weather. I don't see the sun just yet. I know this is Bahamas at sunrise, but this weather's been incredible. Godfrey, tell us all about it, man.
Weather at sunrise. Brought to you by Bahamas First in Insurance, today, tomorrow.
Thank you, Phil, and good morning, Bahamas. In your second look at weather at sunrise, we take a trip around the tropics and be monitoring one system at this time. We have Tropical Storm Zeta, and at 5 a.m. this morning, Zeta was located in a latitude 18.7 degrees north and longitude 84.2 degrees west. That puts it about 210 miles southeast of Cozumel in Mexico. Zeta is moving towards the northwest at 9 miles per hour. Winds now 70 miles per hour with higher gusts. Zeta could become a hurricane later today. Elsewhere, tropical storm formation expected during the next 5 days. On the local scene, lingering troughing along with the tropical moisture will continue to reduce some showers and thunderstorms mainly over the central islands today, as a mid-level ridge building across the islands will promote stable conditions through the remainder of the week. In your marine forecast today, those winds southeast to south at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet northwest Bahamas, east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet over the central and southeastern islands. On Tuesday, those winds east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet over the northwest and central Bahamas, 15 knots, sea 2 to 5 feet over the southeastern islands. Then on Wednesday, those winds southeasterly at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet over the northwest and central Bahamas, east to southeast at 15 knots, sea 2 to 5 feet over the southeastern islands. Your tides. You can expect a low tide at 11:06 this morning. Your next high tide is 5:17 this evening. Low again tonight at 11:41. Sunset 6:34 this evening. Rising was 7:15. UV index 8. Your water temperature 81 degrees Fahrenheit. Honeymoon phase, first quarter. Your extended look, that rich base across the island. So we're looking at partly sunny skies, on the warm side. Chance of a couple of showers, maybe a thunderstorm by afternoon. So temperature daytime will be in the upper 80s. At nighttime, in the upper 70s. That puts you up on your phone. Look at weather at sunrise. I'm Dr. Bernstein. Back to you, Phil.
Thank you very much, Godfrey. Digitization and thriving in the new normal is the topic of the afternoon session of Exuma Business Outlook. And our next guest will be talking about taking schools digital. He is Shamir Sadler, founder and CEO of Smart Term Limited, a company that has developed an integrated learning management system for educational institutions. Good morning, Shamir, and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Morning. Happy to be here.
Yeah, so happy to have you, man. That's an interesting topic. It's a topic that 2020 has just, I'll tell you what. But anyway, tell us a little bit about Smart Term and how you came up with this concept as founder.
Right. So Smart Term was born out of a need. I was lucky to be able to go to the US and go to school. And while at Howard University, we saw technology in the classroom. And I'm like, okay, I remember how I learned in school, and I remember how like theory-based things were, and there was not much technology in the classroom. And being able to see that kind of transition and kind of see, us as Caribbean nationals excel at Howard, I'm like, what if we had these resources available to us back home? So it kind of sparked the need for trying to build and create solutions to help advance our education system. And that is how Smart Term was born.
Yeah, and then of course COVID came along and the world has changed.
Right. So the mission we were preaching then, it was heard, but everyone thought we had time. But COVID came and spoke a different message, and started speaking for us. So we do less talking these days.
Yeah, well, tell you what, talk a little bit about what all of that means. I mean, what is entailed in digitizing an entire school?
Right, exactly. So, what we want to be able to do here and what we have been doing with our schools is every process that you do at school should be online. And today, a lot of our key focus has been on the actual teaching, so the teacher and the student. But school is a lot more than that. School is the administrators on their everyday processes from enrollment all the way to graduation and everything in between, right? And then there's the principals who need to be able to oversee school and see all the data analytics behind it. How are my teachers performing? How are my students performing? What's my attendance rate? These things are very important, and be able to see that on the fly. And the next big part of that is parents. For a long time, parents have been out the loop. So now they've been, they're being brought in, and they're in a very important role, because they're the ones at home and they're the ones that have to help the students stay on track and stay on curriculum and develop what we call consistency around what they're doing at home. So now, having a platform that includes all the stakeholders, all the key players in one space is extremely important. So digitization for us is not just the curriculum and the teachers and the students and them going online and teaching, but kind of bringing school together in a whole. We want to ensure that whatever you do in the physical space can be done online. And we've transitioned most of those processes. And of course, the biggest piece that's always missing when you do this is the social engagement aspects of school. I used to go to school, but my friends were a big factor in going to school. How do you keep that kind of engagement online? And having, like I said, all the players in one space and being able to replicate your clubs, your after school activities, online as well as the teaching material, it goes a far way. And then you can say, okay, we can fully transition between physical and virtual space when it comes to school.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, so many things you said just now, we just don't even have the time to unpack it. But luckily, you'll be at the Exuma Outlook this coming week. But certainly, it is a shift away from the burden, it seems, that has just been placed on teachers and students and parents, but an actual integrated system that ties it all together. And of course, there's always the importance of integrating the after-school clubs and activities into the system. How does this compare to, what we're doing now on things like Zoom or Google Classroom?
Right. So good question. So smart term, like I mentioned before, we are the school's engine. We're the school's hub. So, when schools are going online, you need to be able to do that in a safe, reliable, and efficient way, something that is your companion. So for a principal administrator who normally runs and governs their school, smart term is the best tool for them to go online and transition that way. And we've had situations where schools come on board after using Zoom and Google Classroom. That's fine. We have integrations for both, right? Mm-hmm. So you can leverage the smart term related tools that are the equivalent of those platforms, or you can integrate those platforms into your school's engine, into your school's hub. We want to ensure that every school can go online and keep their culture. So if your school's crest and your logo, your colors, none of those things should be missed. And when using some of these tools online, you're basically, you're using tools to help you advance education, but it's not your space. It doesn't feel quite yours. It doesn't feel like I'm going to school, right? So you want to ensure that, using a tool like Smart Term, your school is online, it's your hub, your culture is there, your colors are there, and the way you normally operate is there. So, we're taking all aspects of school online, and that is how we differentiate ourselves from the others, is that those tools are a subset of what we have, and we sit in place as your school's engine or hub.
One final question, we're completely out of time, but I would imagine that this is here to stay. This new normal is kind of here to stay. Even when COVID and then we kind of get back to normal, which will be a new normal, and students return to classrooms, this can be a hybrid solution, correct?
Correct, right. It's meant for seamless transition between both. So while the students are still in the physical space, they can do their assignments online. The administration will set up their schools and their entire structure. All the student profiles are now digital. So, if something was to happen, a hurricane, an earthquake, tsunami, COVID, COVID-2, or whatever else that might come along, being able to just pick up and go online is now simple. Stay home, kids, go online and talk with your teachers. And that is where we need to be. Right?
Yeah, excellent stuff. Of course, we can get more details from your presentation at the Exuma Business Outlook this Thursday, October 29th. Again, persons can register at tclevents.com or call 322-1000. Shamir, thank you so much for being here on Bahamas at Sunrise.
Thank you for having me, guys.
All right, you're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
The COVID-19 pandemic demands the most modern techniques and highest standards of sanitizing to ensure the safety of schools, businesses, churches, and of the ones we love. Treeline Divine Professional Sanitizers offers state-of-the-art electrostatic technology, providing maximum efficiency and coverage to protect your environment and preserve your health against mold and 99% of bacteria and viruses, including COVID-19. With pricing to match your budget and standards to meet your highest expectations, we invite you to contact us for a free analysis of your weekly, monthly, or single-use needs. COVID-19's impact is strong, but our commitment to restoring your safety is even stronger. Treeline Divine Sanitizing. Spread confidence.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise, and thank you for staying with us. But we're having that much anticipated conversation on the power of the vasectomy today. And so we want to encourage all of our male listeners, especially, to pay attention, and all of those mothers who are not interested in being mothers, let me rephrase that, who are not interested in becoming mothers again, to make sure that those men are paying attention. Very happy to have this conversation with our resident urologist from Urology Care Bahamas, Dr. Gregory Pinto. Good morning, Dr. Pinto, and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning, Bahamas, and good morning to my daughter, Gia. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you with us, and always good to hear that Gia is doing well. I want to get started right away by finding out from you, what is a vasectomy?
So a vasectomy is the best way that you can ensure that you're not going to have those unwanted pregnancies. So it's the best form of male fertility, so that you're not going to have those stressful times when you're a couple that your period is a little bit late. It's minimally invasive. It can occur in 10 to 15 minutes. We could actually do it in a lunch hour. There's no recovery required. It's 100% effective. So it's the best way of contraceptive out there. You can get your spouse, you can get your partner off the harmful birth control pills that can put on 20, 30 pounds, can cause issues related to your heart, to deep vein thrombosis, can make you moody, miserable, depressed. So the studies have shown that it costs about $233,000 to raise a child all the way to 18 years old in the United States. The Bahamas is the 7th most expensive country in the world to live. We're going through the worst economic times ever. So obviously, you're not going to want to have an unwanted pregnancy at this time. So a vasectomy is 100% effective. It's minimally invasive. We use the most modern techniques. It's scalpelless. We don't even use a blade, a surgical blade. You're in and out in 15, 20 minutes, and you can go on your way without having to ever worry about those unwanted pregnancies and changing the life of your children and your wife by having to feed another child.
So let's talk about it though, Doc. The actual procedure, is it reversible? Because some determine that at this point they don't want to proceed with having more kids, but later on something might change and they do want kids. Can they get the correction?
Within the first 2 years, it's quite easily to reverse. Within 2 to 5 years, a little bit more difficult. It's exceedingly difficult beyond 5 years. But obviously, circumstances changes in life. It's always an option to change it. But obviously, you want to make a conscious decision between your partner and yourself if this is something that you want to go through. This is not something that you do without giving thorough thought to it.
Okay. And
so
then
the most important thing I want to do is just get the misconceptions out the way. It doesn't affect.
I ask you. I was going to say. What
are some of the your erections? You're going to still have the same ejaculate. In fact, only about 1 to 2% of your ejaculate fluid contains sperm. You're still making sperm. It's just that it harmlessly goes to the end of tubes that are disconnected and tied off. Sperm is a protein that's harmlessly reabsorbed by the body. So it doesn't affect you in any way unless you're looking at your ejaculate under a microscope. You're going to still have the same sexual sensation, the same orgasm, the same prowess. You're not going to actually feel any difference whatsoever. It's just that you're going to have that confidence that you know you cannot get your partner accidentally pregnant.
So why is this better than tubal ligation for women?
Well, studies of, first of all, tubal ligation is a lot more invasive, and in modern urology, we're always going for minimally invasive. So this is something that can even be done in the office under local anesthesia. This can take 10 to 15 minutes. A tubal ligation, you have to go under general anesthesia, and its effectiveness is not nearly as high as for actual vasectomy.
Okay, all right. And so in this instance, then you still recommend that the best course of action for both partners in a marriage like this is going to be the vasectomy for a man.
Exactly. And you can always put it in the back of your mind, if circumstances change, it can be reversed. But you don't want to have those unwanted scares, particularly in these tough economic times. Vasectomies are covered by insurance. It's a minimally invasive procedure. As I said, you can get it on your lunch hour, go back to work. There's no recovery at all.
So how do you deal with men who say that this somehow compromises their manhood in some way? How do we respond?
That's a complete misconception. So they are obviously they're not urologists, they're not doctors, they're not going to understand the physiology of erections and orgasms, but it cannot in the least bit affect the pleasure of intimacy. It cannot affect your erections. You're still going to have ejaculate fluid. It's just that if you go and look under a microscope, you're not going to have the sperm. You're still making the sperm. It just goes off to the end of the tube that's tied off. Sperm is a protein that's reabsorbed by the body. So it cannot in the least bit affect your sexual prowess and enjoyment at all.
Okay. Well, I think you've been very clear, Dr. Pinto, and I see all the reasons for it. So I want to encourage, of course, people to reach out to you. How could they contact you if they just want to learn?
Well, I have a website, urologycarebahamas.com. That's the easiest way to remember. My office number is 322-1145 or 6, and I'm readily available at the Princess Margaret Hospital as a consultant urologist.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning, Dr. Pinto. Great conversation about the importance of getting vasectomies if you do want to prevent unwanted pregnancies and you don't anticipating wanting to have any more children. If you do within 2 to 5 years, that might be possible, but you want to contact Dr. Pinto to make sure that you're making the right choices. And we certainly know that it's safer for both parties if the man does proceed to do this. And of course, it does not change the sexual prowess at all. And so this is a very important conversation. We want to get rid of those misconceptions and make sure that we're doing proper parental control, birth control planning, even from the male perspective. So thanks again, Dr. Pinto.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be back right after this.
Say the name Exuma, and the world sees exquisite gems in the rich necklace of the Bahamas. Join us on Thursday, October 29th at 10 a.m. via Zoom for the 14th Annual Exuma Business Outlook Seminar. Get an exciting review of Exuma's bright gems of investment potential and progress. Under the theme, A New Era, Resilience in the Face of Vulnerability, a very savvy group of panelists will talk about Exuma opportunities. You won't want to miss it.
Register today at tclevents.com.
Thank you so much for staying with us this morning on Bahamas at Sunrise. We hope that you enjoyed watching the show as much as we enjoyed presenting it to you. I do want to give away a special prize, Phil, because of course October is still Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And so we are giving away another mammogram courtesy of Neutrogena. And so I just want somebody to call us here at the Counselors. The number is 322-1000 and let us know, at what age should a woman start getting a mammogram? At what age should a woman start getting a mammogram? Give us a call at the Counselors, 322-1000. And if you have the correct answer, we've got a free mammogram for you, courtesy of Neutrogena.
Yeah, I remember that answer, almost answered live on air. Anyway, 322-1000. Listen, great show as always, Star.
I absolutely enjoyed it. It's so good to be able to have these conversations. You learn so much hosting the show, and then we get to present information to the public that really we need to get out there. And so that segment on vasectomies tops the cake for me today. I really want to spread that message far and wide.
I'm pretty sure many people were taking notes.
Well, make it a great week, folks. All goes well, or as my grandma used to say, God's sparing life. We'll be back here on Friday with more.
All right.